Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Tiffany and I upload a new homemaking video every Sunday. Today is very special and very exciting because I am sharing with you a fun before and after DIY furniture project. I got the hutch you see behind me on the side of the road several weeks ago, and I have been so excited to get it finished. I love how it turned out, and I'm just gonna share with you what I did in case you come across a jewel on the side of the road or on Facebook Marketplace that you can bring to life and make a part of your home as well. So come with me and I'll show you what I did. The first thing I did for this project was remove all of the hardware. I removed all of the hinges and handles, and then I put them off to the side to paint later, and then I moved my workstation outside. I got a bucket. But I feel like I'm working harder if I sit on a bucket. Yeah. Getting these hinges off was quite the project. They had been on this hutch for many years and they were stuck on there really good, and I didn't want to damage the hutch by taking them off, so I had to be pretty careful. This was a great introduction to how much patience and time this project was going to require. Definitely do not take on a big DIY furniture project unless you have the time to commit to it in the near future. It's going to take up a lot of room in your house, and it's going to make a mess that might get frustrating if you don't have the time carved out to commit to it. It's a big challenge, but it's also totally worth it if you do have a vision and you are up for the task. But there are going to be a lot of thankless steps that you're going to have to take that are going to frustrate you, and it's just definitely something you want to consider before getting started with a project like this. Once all the hinges were off, I wanted to make sure all this furniture was nice and dusted, so I vacuumed it. I vacuumed everything, and then I decided to go ahead and wipe it down with some warm soapy water just in case there were any sticky spots or if there was anything that had gotten on it that needed to be kind of scrubbed off a little bit. Once I got everything wiped down, I went ahead and started sanding all of the flat surfaces of these drawers. And then I went back through later with sandpaper and got all of the edges and the little crevices that I couldn't get with the disc. You'll see me repeat this with the doors as well in just a second. There's a lot of footage in this video, but I really wanted you to see the process and all of the steps that I took to prep this piece of furniture because it was badly in need of some love. And I don't want you to start a project like this unless you know what you're in for, so I wanted to be very transparent. The only part that I didn't get on film as much as I wanted to is the wood filler. That ended up being a very time-consuming process, and that's where I learned the most about myself, actually. It was very challenging, and this particular piece of furniture took a lot of wood filler. So you'll see me kind of try to do it on the camera, but I fail miserably. It's so horrible. But in terms of sanding and prepping for wood filler, you'll see me do the same process that you see me doing here on the doors and the shelves and the drawers. You'll see me do this on the big piece of furniture in a little bit. But for now, I'm just gonna let you watch for a little bit and just kind of see my process. I am not a professional by any means, but I still did end up with a result that I was very happy with. By the time I made it to the end of sanding the base of this hutch, I was feeling really defeated. I was so tired, and I had already put so many hours into it, and I knew I had a long way to go with the wood filler. So you can see here how much I ended up needing to use just on the doors, and the entire hutch was covered in little nicks like this. So I definitely had my work cut out for me, and I didn't get that part filmed because a lot of it I was really cranky and in a bad mood. But I made it through to the other side, and I did eventually get all of the wood filler on. I used this really awesome stuff. I did have a really cool product to work with. This wood filler is really cool. And you can see me kind of using it there, but we're just gonna skip ahead to me sanding all the wood filler that I used. And you can see all the lighter marks. That's where I filled in all the spots, and every inch of this hutch was like that. All right, my friends, I didn't catch all this on camera because it's boring to watch, but I finished sanding all of this and this. I'm painting basically every piece of furniture in my office right now because this room redo kind of took on a life of its own, but I have everything wood filled, patched, sanded, and then I vacuumed it and I wiped it down. So a lot of work went into making it look super ugly like it does right now. And hopefully the next step is to make it look very, very pretty. When I finally had all of my pieces ready for primer, I decided to take a couple of days and work on the hardware, just because that's what made sense for my schedule. So what I did for the screws, instead of buying new screws with gold heads, I just took a paint pen that I had and I just kind of painted the head of these screws gold. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. You'll see it in the finished product at the end of the video, but I think it looks really nice, and it was something that I already had. So definitely recommend this method. And if they get nicked up, you can always just take your paint pen and cover up the little nicks. So I think it worked out really well. I also got these really pretty handles that I'm going to show you in a minute. And I got these just to add a little bit of glamour to the handles of the doors that are on the top of the hutch. And I got them at a store called Paint Rust and Pixie Dust, which is super fun. And I was really excited to see these on the furniture. Now you see me here. I'm setting up to spray paint everything that I decided to spray paint. There was a lot in my office I decided to turn gold once I decided to go with gold hardware on this hutch. So I just picked up this sunlit brass spray paint at Home Depot, and I laid everything out that I wanted to spray paint, and I went to town. So you can see me getting started here. And this was a big painting day for us. This is something that I had going on the side while I was priming the hutch. So my husband was setting up a sprayer that he got, and he was spraying the larger pieces, and I was doing the detail brushwork with the primer on this day. And for this project, we went with an oil-based primer, and I'm so happy we did because it was nice and sticky, and the chalk paint that I used for this hutch really stuck to it nicely. It was smelly and it was kind of difficult to work with, especially on this day because it was almost too cold to be doing this project outside, but it was just right on the edge. So we went for it because we weren't sure when the temperature would be high enough to do it again. And you can see I've got my spray paint working over there. It ended up taking several coats to get all of that hardware turned gold. But you'll see in the end, you'll see the hutch and you'll see that it turned out really pretty. And here you see my husband. He is working on the hutch over here with the sprayer. And we ended up not really loving how it performed for us, and then we discovered we had the wrong size, so it makes a lot of sense. He got the top piece done, but once he was finished with that part, he decided to go ahead and use a brush on the bottom part. I honestly don't know how I would have found the motivation to complete this enormous project if I hadn't had a little bit of help. I'm super grateful he jumped in and kind of got excited about it with me and started working on it so I could get to this fun part over here, which is the paint. And I am using this Rust-Oleum chalk paint. It covers so well and it's very forgiving. I am not a professional painter, so the more forgiving materials I have to work with, the better off I am. And I really love how this went on. I don't think I needed 2 full coats. I think I just needed 2 coats on little parts of this hutch in the end, but it covered really well. I think these cabinet doors were the most challenging part of the project to actually paint, because I did not want drips in the corners, and it was a little tricky to make sure that happened. So I just took my time, and you'll see me sped up about 20 times here, but I really did take a long time to make sure I did a nice job on the final coat here. And I'm very happy with how it ended up turning out. It was worth the extra time, for sure. It seems like I've been working on this project for 100 years at this point, and I was so excited to have it finished and ready to move back into my office. And this part that you're seeing is just the tail end of the hard part. Seems like an eternity, but the part that you're seeing now, where I'm putting the drawers back in, was so satisfying. I was so happy to see it all come together. All of that hard work and all of the guts that I had to work on that just were not gratifying at all really paid off on this day when I got to put everything together and see that my vision was as good as it was in my imagination. So I love creative projects that turn out well in real life. It's so fantastic and rewarding. And I got a little bit frustrated when I started putting all the cabinet doors on, and my husband was home and he just decided to kind of help me out with it, just to be a sweetheart. But that was very helpful, and I was just so happy to see this come together. I love, love, love how this piece of furniture turned out. I seriously could not have dreamed up a better piece of furniture to have in my office. So if you see something that you think you could bring back to life, I definitely recommend trying. It's worth it. Thank you so much for watching this video today. This project was so rewarding, and I hope that by sharing it that I inspire someone else to take something on that will make them feel just as accomplished and excited about their home. So give this video a like if you did enjoy it. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more of my homemaking videos, and I will see you next Sunday, friends. Bye for now.